Welcome. Tonight on the Brock Show we'll be discussing the topic of volunteer tourism, leading us to answer the question, is the West really helping in terms of international educational development? To help us answer this question, I will be interviewing key people within international educational development. Earlier this week I interviewed Steve Stephen from International Development Charity. Hi Kate. Here we have Steve. Good evening, Steve. From an international development charity, and he will be answering some of your questions. So, Steve, what is your response to those who question your work?
The work we do is invaluable to the children that we work with. They get vital educational experiences that they may not otherwise get without these programmes. Children from across all continents receive contact with volunteers who can put into place simple educational programmes that make even the smallest difference to the children's lives. The children haven't had the best start in life where they are, so anything we can do is kind of a bonus for them, really.
Do you not feel that these developing societies should develop in their own way? Is the Western way the correct way?
Yeah, interesting point. These programmes are designed to fit around the societies that we work in. For instance, we won't be teaching chemistry, maths, physics.
After the break we'll be discussing
Sure.
volunteer tourism again. Okay, welcome back. On the topic of volunteer tourism, I've got Steve here from an international development charity. So, do you not feel that there is an overemphasis on technology and not on the development of people as humans within these developing societies?
The technology that we use in our programmes can massively improve lives. Recently in Cambodia we designed an IT centre which has meant children and local residents can now contact other areas that have these IT centres, and they can also use educational software built around their lives, so that when the volunteers leave, the work can then continue. So that's one of the big sort of technological programmes we put in place.
Okay, so is that not setting unrealistic ambitions for these children, where ideally their family would be liking them to stay within their family, looking after, for example, their farm or the house, providing a sustainable family? You're giving them technology and potentially unrealistic ambitions to move into the West and our way of life.
We're not looking to destroy these communities, we're simply trying to give them another way to live their lives. Like I said, these children have the best start in their lives, so anything we can do to help them improve their lives, and even if that is just an hour a day sat on a computer playing, language games, then that's something else we can do for them. We're not asking them to move away from their families, we're simply trying to give them a little bit of a boost.
Okay, so now we're going to cut to a special report from me in the field. Cheers, me. It's not even a special report, it's just bits of paper. So back to me in the studio where I'll be interviewing Stuart Foster. I'm here with Stuart Foster, former Bishop Gloucester University chaplain, army chaplain and currently chaplain to an aristocratic family, currently involved in an overseas project. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you describe a little bit about the project you're involved in?
We are Go Mad in Tanzania, and Go Mad was what drew me, because I'm rather a mad individual, but it actually means, or stands for, make a difference, go make a difference. So the people that we draw in are people that want to make a difference to people in an impoverished state overseas. But what we see is that in the main it makes a bigger difference to the students and to the adults who come and join us.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so what would you say is the main objective of the project?
Because we're partnered with two organisations. One is TIFON, which is an international relief agency, and also with the Anglican Diocese of Tanzania. Their main ethos is sustainability. So we try and start projects which can actually be maintained and sustained without our presence.
Lovely. Okay, so there's some doubts as to some work. So the question here: is it understandable for others to question the objectives of humanitarian work?
I think it is understandable, and it's one of the things that we work very hard to avoid. You can actually, as Europeans, go out there with a very European mindset. What we try and do is encourage a wide reading about Africa and about the state of Africa, where it was and where it was before the developing world started to rip out the resources from that country. We try to make a difference in more ways than one, and therefore we are very concerned that there should be no negative connotations left behind after our work, only the positive. So we try to make sure that people get very much into the mindset of the villagers. We isolate them in more ways than one. Just by being in Africa, you're isolated from the media, from telephones, from the internet. So we begin to get them to think as the Africans think and understand. And we take our directives from local people and from the Anglican diocese who we work with.
So there's very much an understanding of an appreciation of the where they're going to do the work.
We seem to maintain, or to give that understanding. I think it's fair to say there will be some people who will misunderstand and will bring with them their own culture.
Okay. Research by David Gutentag suggests that volunteer tourism actually carries with it a neglect of locals' desires, a disruption of local economies, and an instigation of cultural changes. What are your thoughts?
Our benefit through the work that we do is that on the ground we work with two local agencies. One is a cooperative which we've established, which is made up entirely of village elders and respected people within those villages. And the second one is with the Anglican diocese, which is a Tanzanian bishop who has encouraged this project over 10 years. So what we try to do is respond to what they want rather than what we think they want. But there are agencies probably go in with a very different mindset and don't work as we do through local cooperatives. A disruption to local economy, it's very easy for a Western organisation to come in, throw money into projects, pay local people to assist them in these projects and then withdraw. And there are all sorts of reasons which could lead to that sustainability falling flat very quickly, and therefore it could be a major disruption to local economy. What we do by providing a sustainability and by creating cooperatives, by building water tanks, by building in sanitary facilities and helping in the leprosy colonies, etc., etc., is we try to make sure all this work that we have initiated can be sustained and is sustained by the local people through the economic process that we encourage them to take, which is starting a market garden, which is goat breeding, which is breeding chickens, all of which feed their table, feed the mouths of people. So we initially give, and they had to then work and trade and barter in order to get their goat to breed or their chickens to breed, and then the settlement market and the sustainable meal for most of the people out there is goat and chicken. So we try and help as we do through the provision of seed. Do we seek to intervene or instigate cultural change? This is a very hard one, and I think it's good every evening when we come back we have a debrief, the team, which can be 15, 20 people, we sit around a large table and we go through a debrief. And I think what we try to do is to question what some people might have done in the day if we feel that is not in accord with the desires of the people we work amongst. Bearing in mind most of these are rural farmers on the edge of the Serengeti, for whom poverty is a reality, a real reality. They live on less than £1 a week. And we try for our volunteers to live on £1 a day. Wow. So by comparison, we're still rich on £1 a day when we're out there. But we try to make sure that culturally we don't introduce anything from the West, because our belief is that what they are demonstrating to us is that less is more.
Okay, so there's very much focus on long-term benefits.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you say that there is a difference between Christian humanitarian work and other organisations, potentially, that are less religious?
I think probably in terms of focus, aspects of the humanitarian aid, there's no difference between us and other secular organisations. What we try to do as a Christian organisation is recognise that the people we are bringing out are of a Christian background, and we try to use that effectively in their focus on humanitarian need. But the actual work we do, whether we're digging holes for a cesspit, whether we are putting up water towers, is very much the same as other organisations, international organisations work. And indeed we rub shoulders and we work in India with an international agency who is purely humanitarian. So we can sit alongside them quite comfortably. But what we do with the Christian ethos is ensure that our example on a daily basis, our conduct does not cause problems for the local people. So for example, in the region where we work, alcohol is a major issue, and the abuse of alcohol. And as a result of that, we say to our teams, no alcohol during your time here, because it would undermine our ethos. There's just one example.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. That's all we have time for now.
Thank you very much indeed.
We've seen the benefits from both Christian and corporate sides. The short-term benefits are clear. Sharing culture is enjoyable for both. However, the long-term effects can be seen to be very negative. A neglect of locals' desires, a destruction of local economies, and an instigation of cultural change. It can be seen that after talking to Stuart Foster, that the Christian ethos and morals can greatly limit these negatives and provide sustainability. That's all we have time for tonight. I hope you enjoyed watching. Join us next week when we'll be discussing why is Babs really the best tutor in Britain? Check out the hashtag #BabsIsBoss.